Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. I'm not sure what the structure necessarily for this is going to be. I'm just going to kind of throw my list out there. We're not going to go too in depth. I just kind of want to, share my opinions. If your list is any different than mine, you got a different top 10 or a top 5 going into this season, make sure to drop them in the comments down below. Let's just go ahead and get into it. First, obviously, I want to start off with some honorable mentions. I don't like to do these a lot just because I feel like it's a waste of time. If it didn't make the list, it didn't make the list. But I think there's so much potential after a draft and after free agency that you got to consider more options than just what's on the list. There's always more out there possibilities. So first honorable mention I want to talk about is the Broncos. This is my team. This draft for me was not it. I think this is the first of the 3 years that Sean Payton has been here where the draft was just, in my opinion, almost overall bad. The only good pick that I think we had was Jahdae Barron. I'm not too familiar with some of the other defensive players, but RJ Harvey, like, you can look at anyone's highlights and say that they're good, but on UCF, when most of their opponents were not very difficult, a lot of those highlights fail to impress me. And then you got wide receiver Pat Bryant, where it's like, I don't know. For me, I don't even think we needed to take a receiver in this draft. We needed to be prioritizing tight ends because the draft class was so shallow. Running back was deep, but like, we took one of the worst ones on the board when there were other much better guys. We had multiple tight ends we could have gone after, even after the two seemingly best ones were taken, and those were just neglected the whole time. So like, I called it last year going into the 2024 season. I said the Broncos were going to go 10-7 and make the playoffs. That's exactly what they did. And for the most part, Broncos fans were like me, where we were just happy to get into the playoffs in the first place. So getting blown out by the Bills was whatever. The expectations for this year were like, okay, you need to fully implement the Sean Payton system, get the tight end. We have a good thing going into this year. All we need are these crucial positions that we are sorely lacking in: tight end and running back. They didn't get any of the tight ends that they wanted in free agency. The Saints are still expected to let go of Taysom Hill, but I have no idea when that's going to happen. We tried to get Juwan Johnson. We tried to get some of these other guys in free agency. They were taken. We tried to get Evan Ingram. He went to other teams and then he came back. He's near the tail end of his career. I think he's going to be 31 at the start of this season. He's coming off an injury. For me, it was like, you really need to get a tight end of the future, and someone like Colston Loveland would have been awesome. We needed a running back, but we had multiple rounds to do that. Somehow we ended up taking Caleb Lohner, a basketball player, as a tight end from Utah in the 7th round, and that's apparently good enough. Apparently they must have more faith in Evan Ingram than I think is deserving, but whatever, it is what it is. These guys review film more than I do. They watch these guys, they assess, they know more, and I'm aware of that. I think we missed a lot of opportunities in free agency. We didn't get aggressive enough with the money that we had, and also plenty of reports came out after the draft that showed that we were eyeing a lot of running backs and tight ends that we didn't get, so then we thought we could trade back and get these other guys, and then we lost them. So we ended up losing on all the guys that we wanted, and we just took who was left. To me, that doesn't necessarily bode well at all. So going into the season, I genuinely don't know what to expect. I predicted it accurately last year. I don't know. The expectations are literally, we could miss out of the playoffs again this year, especially with our division, or we could go to the AFC Championship if all of these guys just surprisingly contribute so much more to the offense. I really don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards the former, but yeah, that's why it's not super exciting to me going into the season enough to make the list. And then last of the honorable mentions, we got the Cowboys. They have a lot of exciting stuff happening in terms of personnel. I'm excited that they grabbed Joe Milton. I think that was a great pickup because Dak Prescott, the thing keeping them off the list for me is it's Jerry Jones. It's the Cowboys. You know what I mean? They already had an exciting lineup. They already had explosive playmakers. What do they do with it? All the guys they got coming in now, what are they going to do with it? I personally can't get my expectations too high for them, so that ruins the excitement for me. So yeah, with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the actual list, starting with number 10, the Saints. Now, I know what you're thinking. How are you more excited for the Saints than any of these teams? For me, really, it's just the make or break. You got head coach Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator from the Eagles, headed over there, and I'm kind of interested to see what he's going to do. You have a quarterback situation that is really, really messy, really, really ugly. So the fact that nobody has expectations for him kind of makes me think like, okay, could he blow everyone out of the water? I'm also kind of curious for what's going to happen with their rookies and their veterans. Having Alvin Kamara and Devin Neal on the same team is awesome to me. Devin Neal was a powerhouse at Kansas, and knowing that he's going to be working behind this veteran is super exciting to me. And then you got the tight end situation where they still have great guys, Juwan Johnson and Taysom Hill. Even though they're expected to let Taysom go, I still think that they're, doing the smart thing by keeping both of them on and just seeing what happens. Re-signing Juwan was a smart move. Picking up Elvin Banks Jr. for the offensive line was great. I'm just curious. Mostly for this, I'm curious. And I think it has the potential to go somewhere because the Saints, when you look at their records over the past couple years, it wasn't too bad. Like in 2023, it was not too bad. They just came up short. The competition was there and the Bucs brought it, right? And then you remember the fact that they were decimated by injuries in 2024, working with a rookie quarterback for a big chunk of the season. Defense injured out the wazoo, right? With a new head coach, new vision. I'm curious. Let's see. Number 9, we got the Colts. Colts. Honestly, with Shane Steichen, there's nothing flashy about this team. There's nothing exciting about the Colts ever. It's really just the specifics in the personnel that I'm thinking about. The quarterback situation is just god awful. I'm personally not really expecting anything from Riley Leonard, but you could say the same thing about Tyler Show and the whole like having no expectations and how that can blow people away sort of thing. Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson, I mean literally like the worst quarterback room possible. I know people like to give Daniel Jones grace because he was on the Giants. You guys forget, Joe Shane and Brian Daboll came into a 4-13 team and they took that team to the playoffs. So I'm not sure where people get this narrative that Daniel Jones is just good despite bad coaches. Bad coaches worsen good quarterbacks, not the other way around. Good coaches make bad quarterbacks look good. That, in my opinion, is what they did in 2021. And I think that'll be accurately reflected. And Tyler Warren, I think, was their best pickup in the draft. So really, we'll see what happens there. This is, again, another mid team that's been pretty competitive over the past couple of years. They've actually had a good shot, been in playoff contention. They're just like kind of kept on the fringe last minute. So I'm just kind of curious with some more weapons in there. Is that going to change? We'll see. All right, the number 8, we have the Raiders. Now, this huge quarterback situation last year was just, oh man, headache. So ugly. Worst quarterback room in the league. So to bring Geno Smith in, Pete Carroll in as the head coach, Chip Kelly as your offensive coordinator, I mean, like, just in terms of coaching and the veterans on this team, it's very, very exciting what they've been doing during this offseason. And having a quarterback room of Geno Smith, Aiden O'Connell, and Cam Miller, the rookie from, I believe, North Dakota, it's just a massive improvement in my opinion. Then they bolstered the O-line that was like already getting better last season. You're gonna have Pete Carroll's defense on a defense that was already good in 2023. You get a huge flash pickup in Ashton Genty. You keep defensive veterans like Max Crosby. Honestly, it's really, really exciting to me, and I want to see what the result of it is because I think they're going to become a lot more competitive than they were last year, when I think the majority of people are still writing them off, and I don't really understand why. It's Pete Carroll. All right, then number 7, we have the Rams. I think keeping Stafford was a good choice. This is a guy that's proven he can get them there. Really, injuries just killed them last season, and then even then, like late season, they came back and made it into the playoffs anyway. Like 1-5, and then they made it to the divisional round. Like, that's huge. So keeping a guy like that is a good idea. Getting rid of an injury-prone Cooper Kupp, also not a bad idea in my opinion. And then getting another one of the best tight ends in the draft, Terrence Ferguson, getting Devontae Adams in free agency, keeping Puka Nacua. So really, just from an offensive standpoint, this is a team I'm really excited to see because I think it's going to be very flashy and very fiery in what could stand to be a very competitive division. All right, then at number 6, we have the Bucks. Now, this one is honestly pretty simple. The Bucks are already a good team. They've been a playoff team for a minute, year in and year out. The main thing that was killing them last season was the defense being one of the worst in the league. The only time the defense was ever at or near the top in terms of defensive rankings was when they went on and had games against the Giants, Panthers, etc., etc. Some of the worst offensive teams. Outside of that, they were like 28 out of 32 all season. So it bodes very, very well that during the draft, they bolstered the hell out of their defense. And that shows that they're very aware, they're attentive, they know their weaknesses, they know where the flaws are and that they need to address them. There was also the matter of injuries to guys like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin at the same time in the same game, and it reminds you these guys are getting older. So the fact that they took some of the best wide receivers in the draft, like Emeka Egbuka and Tez Johnson, is a very, very good sign. It means that they're getting Baker his weapons. And at number 5, we have the Browns. Now, I use excited for this one very, very loosely because it's the Browns, so you can't really expect much from them. But let's not forget, in 2023, they were a playoff team. So who knows? Maybe they turn some things around. We'll see. Honestly, even with that booming defense in 2023, guys like Nick Chubb, I still just am not overly confident in a head coach like Kevin Stefanski. I'm sorry, this is just one of those teams where they don't have a head coach that seems to know what he's doing, doesn't really have a clear vision. He's just kind of year in, year out, once a year is kind of screwed from the get-go, shot in the foot week 5. It seems like he gives up just as much as the rest of his team, and they just start loading up for next year. That being said, our team's looking really, really good right now, at least on the offensive side of the ball. You got Joe Flacco back, and the best one overall, in my opinion, at least for getting a quarterback for the future, is Dylan Gabriel, one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the draft, in my opinion, and I think he's a great improviser, scrambler. He's got the arm. It's really just that stigma around Oregon QBs for whatever reason. Yet again, I'm really surprised that he wasn't picked up by another team sooner. But outside of that, what's really exciting to me is the running back Dylan Sampson, Tennessee talent and a late round pick. I think if you don't have receivers, if you don't have tight ends, you don't have anybody, you at least have that. But they did actually take a tight end as well, Harold Fannin Jr. This is a guy that I did not watch at all, but for some reason, Broncos fans were really, really excited and obsessed with him. I have no idea why. Not really excited for him necessarily, necessarily, just curious to see what one of the tight ends in this draft. Number 4, we get the Titans. Obviously, they got the best quarterback in the draft, at least in my opinion. Cam Ward, I was saying it all year throughout the college fall season. All the scouts were saying that he wasn't even a first round talent. I was saying that he was. He had an amazing year, amazing O-line, amazing tight ends, amazing running backs, amazing receivers. So seeing him go to an NFL team like the Titans that doesn't necessarily have vision and is going into a rebuild, kind of scary to me. Kind of scary to me as a big fan of his. But it helps that an undrafted wide receiver, which I have no idea how he went undrafted, but Xavier Restrepo, his #1 target in Miami, actually willingly went to Tennessee, followed him there. So those two will be together. Another tight end prospect, Gunnar Helm, who again, Broncos fans were obsessed with for whatever reason. Again, I didn't do my research on him, but having these two here is pretty exciting. Just in terms of giving Cam Ward options, they picked up multiple receivers in the draft to give him even more targets, including Gators wide receiver Dyke, who had multiple great plays throughout the season that I witnessed. So I'm not really too big on the Titans coaching staff right now. Nothing exciting or flashy about it, but just from a personnel standpoint, I think that's really cool and it's going to be fun to watch. Number 3, we have the Bears. Now, after everything that's happened in free agency in the draft thus far, the fact that Ben Johnson is the new head coach of the Bears kind of gets swept under the rug a lot, I feel like. But with such a good core offense and a good core defense, I think going into Caleb Williams' second year, this team is going to be massive in the NFC. Obviously, you have the Bears luck that makes everybody doubt. But with a guy like Ben Johnson, I mean, who knows? He could be a terrible head coach. He could be a great play caller and terrible head coach. Like I said, when you have someone who is already good at putting together an offensive system and play calling in an exciting way, you have him going from one NFC North team to another, an already amazing offense and defense in terms of structure and core, and then you get the best tight end in the draft. Yeah, that's really exciting to me, and I hope Caleb Williams has a great year. I hope all of them do. Then you got number 2, the Giants. Now, this is a team that I feel like people, for obvious reasons, are pretty down on, but this is a team with good leadership. Now, when I say that, a lot of people laugh, but you gotta remember, Saquon is one player. Should they have kept him? Yeah. Were they getting results with him there? No. So think about it. What would keeping him have changed? Not a lot. In fact, in my opinion, they got a lot of great route runners in terms of rookies. Tyrone Tracy, Malik Neighbors, Theo Johnson. I think this is a core that's really good. A good young offense, and they had to get younger. I mean, running back, you can only re-sign them so old, right? And for so expensive while you're trying to put money into your quarterback. I mean, it's a messy situation. I get it, but I do think it's great leadership. What I think a lot of people forget when it comes to this current regime's failures is injuries were a big part of it. You have your star Pro Bowler, All-Pro left tackle Andrew Thomas getting injured this year and last year. You also have Daniel Jones getting injured this year and last year, which really hindered the performances throughout both those seasons. Like, don't forget, before these guys stepped in, the Giants went 4-13 in their first year after drafting heavy, trying to build around Daniel Jones, trying to fix the mistakes of the past where previous Giants leadership didn't build around Eli Manning. They were trying to fix that mistake. They were trying to give him options. They were trying to give him protection, and they got Daniel Jones, who was previously failing year in and year out. They stuck by him. They took the team 9-7-1, and they took them as far as the divisional round, and then in subsequent years just got decimated by injuries to crucial players. In 2024, one last chance on the former first-round quarterback, and it didn't take. For some reason, these guys are getting all of the blame for that, but I think pressure creates greatness when you are really great. And so with a draft and a free agency like theirs, I think it's going to be very fun because they might prove a lot of people wrong. First of all, in terms of getting cushioning and just safety in the quarterback room, I think they did a good job. Russell Wilson is one of the worst quarterbacks in the entire league right now. But in terms of just getting a pre-draft and trying to play it safe, I think it's a good option. Jameis Winston is the backup veteran that I would probably keep around long term and cut Russell Wilson later. But for now and for preseason, I think it's a pretty good option. They let go of Drew Lock. Daniel Jones is gone. Tommy DeVito's sticking around. They also draft Jackson Dart, avoided Shedeur Sanders, which I think was a good idea because of the reports and all that stuff. They obviously still have their younger guys that served them well, but Daniel Jones just was not able to throw the ball around and get to him. So Tyrone Tracy Jr., Malik Neighbors, Darius Slayton, Theo Johnson, all of these guys on offense are really good. Andrew Thomas, if he can stay healthy this year, it's like now that Daniel Jones is out of the picture. And then last but not least, I can't believe I'm saying this as a Broncos fan, but the most exciting NFL team to me going into this year is the Seattle Seahawks. Now in free agency, I was kind of like, oh, this team is about to get way worse. Getting rid of Geno Smith, not a quarterback that I'm a fan of. In my opinion, he's a little bit too slow, but you had a positive record with him for the past 3 years. And Pete Carroll's second to last year went 9-8, got to the playoffs. Pete Carroll's last year went 9-8 again, and then Mike McDonald's first year 10-7 missed the playoffs, and what ended up being a decently competitive division last minute. In my opinion, it was like, keep Geno Smith, get a rookie quarterback, and you're good, right? It's already a good solid team, but clearly Mike McDonald thought, hey, these guys are only getting older, we gotta shake some things up, I gotta make this my team. So then you get rid of Geno Smith, you pay Sam Darnold an insane salary, and I was just kind of looking at that like, ugh, ugh. Then they get Cooper Kupp, and I'm like, ugh. But then the draft comes around, and I see just how much of a powerhouse this team might end up being. They made a very, very smart decision in drafting Jalen Milroe, and also Drew Lock came back, which is really, really cool. So now you have plenty of quality options in the quarterback room, depending on how you want to play it. They also got one of the most exciting draft prospects, in my opinion, ever, Damian Martinez. Again, another running back that I thought we should have gone for on the Broncos. They still have the young Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like I said, Cooper Kupp. They got Scantling from the Saints, drafted Horton from Colorado State, Ricky White from UNLV. They got Miami's Elijah Arroyo, so running back and tight end from Miami. All of these massive offensive pickups from a defensive-minded head coach. They have so many options in the running back, tight end, wide receiver, and quarterback rooms that I really think it's going to be hard to stop this team. With a first-time head coach going 10-7 in his first year, barely missing the playoffs, making some great offensive moves in free agency and the draft, getting his quarterback of the future, getting a running back and a tight end of the future, a young wide receiver core. I mean, that and a really strong defensive scheme. I mean, this is going to be a hard team to stop. I mean, genuinely, when you think about it, this was a team that was already near the top in terms of performance. With a head coach in his first year, I genuinely am of the opinion that they're going to transform the NFC. They're going to bring some great competition. And honestly, I think this is a Super Bowl contender team. I'm not trying to buy into the hype. I mean, as a Broncos fan, why would I do that for the Seahawks? This is just like a great team. This is a great core offensively, and it's a defense that already did well last year. This is a team that's gone positive for the past couple of years, ever since getting rid of Russell Wilson. They just haven't been lucky enough to get into the playoffs or make it through them. I think that's going to change this year. I think this is going to put this team on the map. So yeah, that is my list. Let me know yours down in the comments below. Who are you most excited about? Who got the best prospects in the draft and free agency? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. That is the video. Thank you for watching.